was a few of us with the International Solidarity Movement. We had been working in the occupied Palestinian territories for a few years, but had been banned from going into Gaza. Because in 2003, Israel killed our colleague Rachel Corrie, ran her over with a bulldozer, and a few weeks later killed another one of our colleagues, Tom Herndal, shot him in the back of the head. He lay in coma for 9 months and he died. So Israel was getting bad publicity for mortally injuring and killing international civilians, so they decided that they were going to make it much more difficult for people to enter Gaza. Of course, it's difficult for Palestinians to move around and to get out. So we were cut off from Gaza for a few years, and then Israel tightened its stranglehold on Gaza and started preventing the people from exporting, denying people permission to leave, severely restricting the things that got into Gaza. And so the situation inside became really drastic, with rising rates of unemployment and poverty and malnutrition and aid dependency. And we were really frustrated because nobody was doing anything about it. And we realized we couldn't get in from any of the land borders. Israel controlled all the land borders. So then one of our colleagues
from Australia, and he said, his name is Michael Sheikh, and he said, you know, I have this idea. I think we should buy a boat in New York, sail it across the sea, go to these various European ports, and then sail to Gaza.
It really did sound crazy because we didn't have a boat, we didn't know anything about boats, we didn't have money to get a boat, and then you're talking about one of the most powerful militaries in the region blockading Gaza.
So it was just 5 of us, 4 women, 1 man, 3 of us Americans, 2 Australians, and we got the idea and we just flew with it. Nobody believed it. You know, as Huwaida said,
it seemed a little bit ridiculous, but a few people believed in the idea and they started mobilizing and fundraising. What it took in the beginning was a lot of fundraising to get the money to get a boat.
There were enough people who believed that we could do this, that we raised $300,000. Took us 2 years.
We still didn't have enough money, but everyone that became part of the project then was just digging into their own pockets, their bank accounts, taking loans, and we scraped together enough money to buy 2 small fishing boats in Greece and sail to Gaza.
At the present moment, we are in international waters. We are now heading in towards Palestinian waters.
your port and to your borders. So this proves it. Maybe today Israel has opened the borders to the world. Free Palestine.
שני מסרים. א', אנחנו לא אויבים, והשלום הוא כן אפשרי. וב', אנחנו הישראלים צריכים לקחת אחריות. אנחנו הכובשים, אנחנו אחראים למצב הזה, ורק אנחנו יכולים לגמור את הכיבוש הזה.
We did! 2 years! It took 2 years to do this!
In 2008, I attended a fundraiser in Seattle organized by the Free Gaza movement, designed to raise monies for the purchase of 2 boats that would attempt to break the Israeli siege of Gaza. It was mentioned during the course of the event that they were looking for crew members to join the 2 boats. Well, 2 weeks later I was in Athens. There I met with some other members of the group, and after a week I was surreptitiously taken down to Spetses, a small island off the Peloponnese. Together with a land crew, we worked on refurbishing the 60-foot, 60-year-old fishing boat. One day a Greek sea captain arrived, and within hours we were heading for Hania on Crete. There we joined the Liberty, the second vessel in our small flotilla, and we held a press conference, and our mission was announced to the world.
Huwaida is one of the founders of the International Solidarity Movement, does nonviolent resistance very much in the spirit of what the Free Gaza movement is trying to do now to restore Palestinian rights. Huwaida?
I decided it was very important for me to be on this boat because I represent the Palestinians in the diaspora and the Palestinians inside 48, the 1948 boundaries that Israel tried for so long to separate us and to make us feel powerless, and we are not powerless. So I hope that I can represent this power and the new generation of Palestinians that will not forget that we are one people and that we have a right to live with freedom and dignity.
Israel can impose a security siege. It can't, but it has. But it cannot impose an economic siege because that harms the civilian population. And so an initiative of civilians going to meet other civilians cannot be stopped legally by Israel. Israel is in a real dilemma. They do not know what to do with us, and that is exactly the point of highlighting the illegality of this siege. So we're doing all of this in solidarity with the people in Gaza, and because as an Israeli, I refuse to see the Palestinians as my enemies.
This mission, these 2 ships, will not be standing here without the Greek people, who've been all the way through a great support for the Palestinian cause. And this is what you've done, Greek people.
I am proud to be a part of this trip primarily as a professional journalist in the United Kingdom who will be observing that this is a non-violent project to go to Gaza and show the shame of this illegal siege. I will be observing everything that goes onto the boats, all the people going on board. I will be bearing witness that this is a non-violent action with a very real human rights agenda. I am proud to know the people that are involved in this, and I am less proud that Tony Blair is my brother-in-law. Thank you.
After that, we proceeded to leapfrog across the Mediterranean, and 1,000 miles later we reached Larnaca on Cyprus. After a few days, we boarded our passengers and members of the press and headed for Gaza. As night fell, we could see the Israeli warships in the distance. We started to receive radio warnings that we were violating their blockade of Gaza. We responded that We did not recognize the legality of their action, and we were proceeding regardless. About midnight, our radio communications are closed down. All electronics was smothered by the Israelis. Our uplink did not work. Our ship-to-shore radio did not work. I could not even make a call on my satellite phone.
On the radar, we could see ships around us, and we were about 25 to 30 miles out from Gaza, and we thought if anywhere Israel would attack us at this point. So we stopped to assess, and we had a disagreement on the two boats. One boat wanted to go, and the other boat we were divided.
Because the media attention is on us now. Now is the climax. You can't drag out a climax for 2, 3, 4 days unless there's a confrontation, and there is no confrontation. You can't sit here and expect the media to follow you. It's been 2 weeks already. We're monkeying around. The media's going to lose attention. We got to go and do it and break the siege and push it like we've always said. Next.
Let's go!
The other boat, our boat, had no choice but to follow them, which was good because I wanted to go anyway. So we followed them, and half an hour after we made that decision, there was one journalist, he was working for Al Jazeera. He had a satellite phone that was on a different system than the ones that we had, and it worked. And he got a phone call that said the Israeli Foreign Ministry just announced that they're not going to intercept your boats.
The only legal right that they have to stop any boats from going to Gaza, strictly speaking, they have the right to stop weapons and arms according to international conventions. They have no right to stop people who have no arms. And they know we have no arms. In fact, one of their people, Arya Mekel, was asked, why did you let these people go into Gaza and you didn't stop them?
Because we wanted to avoid the media provocation on high seas that they were apparently planning. Also, we know who is on those boats and we know what is their cargo. They are carrying with them humanitarian equipment for the hearing impaired.
How do we know? Because Cyprus inspected them, and we trust the inspection procedure in Cyprus. If there's anything dangerous on board, Cyprus will know and we will know.
And this was a shock to us because we planned all along we're going to be attacked. And we realized for the first time, oh my gosh, we're really going to make it to Gaza. And we didn't expect it. We prepared for every scenario, even people possibly dying, but not that we would make it to Gaza. It was the only scenario we didn't prepare for. But we were so happy, and people were jumping up and down and laughing and crying. We couldn't believe it.
Derek, one of the people on the boat, one of the crew members, he started shouting, land, we reached the land, and we couldn't believe it. And then when we saw it, all of us, we cried, emotions ran.
So we could see the shores of Gaza getting closer and closer and closer. And I looked over the deck.
Then we saw the coast of Gaza. And at that point we realized, my God, we're actually going to arrive.
What a moment! Look at it. Gaza. Side by side by the ship. Real magic, special time. Special time. What a magic moment.
Saw all of these, they look like stalactites with thousands and thousands of things that were pointing up out of the earth.
As we got closer, we could see those weren't rocks, those were people, just thousands and thousands of people that spontaneously rushed to the port to meet us.
They were down there waiting for us. It was the most, amazing thing that I have ever seen, ever. It was one of the days of my life that I tuck away, and I bring it back out as a remembrance of what human beings can do to make a difference for other human beings.
I have never done anything in my life, and my life is long enough, it's more than 60 years. So I've never done anything as big as this, and it's like everything came together. It was a very, very special moment.
As these two dilapidated boats came in, everybody is seasick. Nobody has their hair combed. Everybody looks as though they have been spending 3 days in the sun and vomit. And they didn't care. They didn't care. We broke that blockade. We broke that blockade for the first time in 41 years. And it was the most remarkable experience of my life.
We were approached by boats. Fishermen had jumped on their boats to come out to us, and young boys jumped in the water to swim out to our boats. I remember thinking, oh no, the water's polluted, you don't want to swim in that water. Because of course Israel prevents materials from getting in so the people could fix their sewage system, so much sewage is dumped into the Mediterranean deliberately.
Along the shores of the Gaza harbor, with thousands of Palestinians waving flags, shouting a welcome, giving the Vive the Victory sign. It was a moment that none of the 44 passengers aboard will ever forget. I certainly will not, and I am sure that none of the others will forget it either. It was very special.
What can I say? We are so glad to be here. We are so happy to be able to stand with you against the occupation. We have longed so many months to arrive, and now it's like a dream for us to meet you.
So we started throwing the balloons overboard. We were throwing them as fast as we could. All of a sudden, these little boys are jumping off the ships, and they're grabbing the balloons, and they're sticking the balloons in their shorts, and they're putting the balloons on top of their boats. I think, well, we had 500 balloons, so you can imagine 500 balloons got picked up that afternoon. The most joyous thing I have ever seen are these little boys picking these balloons up as though they were something precious that they were going to keep. I heard later from a couple of my friends in Gaza that 2 of these little boys, they were 9, kept those balloons for a year. And of course, obviously, they got smaller and smaller and smaller, and pretty soon they had no air in them at all. But on those balloons, it said Free Palestine. And they kept those until Kasled.
But people were so happy, they just wanted to reach out to us as much as possible. And when we got to the port, we had to have security guards just keeping people back because everyone wanted to talk to us, to hug us, to thank us, shake our hands, or even just see us. It was amazing, really, and humbling because we were being treated like heroes, and we weren't heroes. In fact, many of us on those boats got our inspiration and our courage from the people of Gaza. Just seeing how every day they are confronting this massive force that is trying to get rid of them, and yet every day they insist on living. And then on top of that, to see how happy they were to receive us. And most of us were coming from countries that are complicit in Israel's policies. I mean, a lot of people were US citizens, and America funds Israel's occupation. Some people were from the United Kingdom, from other countries that are supporting Israel and what it does. But the Palestinian people in Gaza didn't see that. They just saw that these people were coming to stand in solidarity with them, and they loved them.
About 5 years ago, I met a doctor who had just returned from the West Bank. And I asked him, what could I, who am not a doctor or a teacher, what could I bring to the Palestinians if I were to go there myself? And he said I could bring hope and I could bring the awareness that the world has not forgotten the plight of the Palestinians.
All we had on our boats was some hearing aids, a small package of hearing aids that someone donated, and we had balloons for kids. But the message of our voyage was much stronger. We said that we don't want to perpetuate this aid cycle because Palestinians don't want to live on aid. We are coming to challenge Israel's policy that have left Palestinians in need of humanitarian aid. This needs to change. And Palestinians hadn't seen something like that before, just average civilians willing to stand up to the Israeli Navy and say, no, we're not going to let you do this anymore. And in that battle, that small standoff, we won. The power of the people won. And combine that with the love and warmth that we received from Gaza, we knew that this wasn't going to be a one-time thing. We're going to continue. We're going to leave Gaza the same way we came, and we're going to come back, and we're going to keep going and coming until we really break Israel's blockade and open a sea route to Gaza, or from Gaza and Palestine to the rest of the world.
We had the feeling that we had brought hope, and we had brought the awareness that their plight was not forgotten by the rest of the world.
Yesterday was one small step for humankind and one giant step for Palestine.